Okay, we're good. All right. It is now 6:31 and I'd like to call this meeting of the Community Development Committee to order. While this meeting is being held in person, we are also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if preferred. Instructions on how to attend virtually are included in the City Council calendar item listed on the front page of missionks.org. The public is also invited to participate in the meeting. If you are participating through Zoom, please either add your comment in the chat feature and it will be read out loud, or note that you would like to speak and we will call on you shortly to make your comment verbally. Please remember your comments or questions are visible to everyone in the meeting. If you are part of our in-person group tonight, please raise your hand but stay seated and we will call on you to go to the lectern to make your comment. When you make your comment, please state your name and city of residence for the record. Also, please be conscientious of others trying to speak and speak slowly and clearly. This meeting will be recorded and posted on the city's website at missionks.org. Please contact the administration offices at 913-676-8350 with any questions or concerns. Ms. Fultz, please call the roll.
Vaughn? Here. Loudon?
Here.
Ryherd?
Here.
Green? Here. Schmidt?
Here.
Josie?
Here.
Carpenter-Davis? She's online, but not available to speak right now.
Our first item of business tonight is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment now on an item not on our agenda tonight? Please note public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on. We have one item coming forward from the Planning Commission for consideration of a final plat for the Nelson Wastewater Treatment Facility. Mr. Scott, will you please make your presentation?
PowerPoint I sent you, Justin. Cover sheet was fine. It was very subtle and it'd be a little different sometimes. Okay. This item is a final plat for the Nelson Wastewater Treatment Facility, which is located at the very far northeast corner of the city. 4800 Nall Avenue was the formal address. They recently redressed themselves to Fox Ridge. But it's the very end of Nall Avenue, all the way to the north. And the treatment plant was first established back in the 1940s, and it's been added to over the years. And as it's grown, so have the properties that the county's collected. So they've gone from 1 to 2 to probably half a dozen or more parcels of property. So when they submitted for a preliminary development plan, a final development plan a few years ago, we asked them to consider replatting the property just to consolidate everything. And they needed to do that so they could record some easements and kind of clean some things up. So that's what it looked like before. We can go to the next slide. So that's the plat that was submitted last year, the final plat that was approved by the Planning Commission. After the approval by the Planning Commission, the wastewater district went ahead and had to record it, and the county rejected it because there's a number of electrical easements throughout the plat, and it just showed proposed easement book number, and the recorder of deeds actually wanted to have the actual book page number. So they worked with Evergy to kind of finalize all that and clean it up and get those easements recorded. And so they asked us to, sign it again or reapprove it, if you will. And in doing that, I noticed we forgot to accept right of way along Nall. So that's why we're here tonight. So this is just a kind of perfunctory act for the city to accept the right of way along Nall through the final plat. And then we'll get the signatures that we need and give it back to the county to record the register of deeds. That's that.
Okay. Any questions? All right, I think we're good. This will appear on the August 20th, 2025 agenda under Planning Commission items. We do not have any public presentations tonight, therefore we will move into our action items. Our only action item this evening is the acceptance of the meeting minutes from Robin Folks.
Thank you. Draft minutes of the July 9th Community Development Committee meeting were included for review and acceptance in your packet tonight.
Great, thank you. Questions, comments, concerns? Otherwise, I'll take a recommendation.
Recommend acceptance on consent.
Great, thank you. We do not have any discussion items this evening, but before we adjourn, Ms. Smith, are there any department updates for the Community Development Committee?
I don't believe for community development.
Great. All right, it is now 6:36 PM, and with no further discussion, that concludes the meeting of the Community Development Committee.
I think that's my shortest one yet. Pretty good. Okay, well, it is still 6:36 PM, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee to order. While this meeting is being held in person, we are also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if preferred. Instructions on how to attend virtually are included in the City Council calendar item listed on the front page of missionks.org. The public is also invited to participate in the meeting. If you are participating through Zoom, please either add your comment in the chat feature and it will be read out loud, or note that you would like to speak, and we will call on you shortly to make your comment verbally. Please remember your comments or questions are visible to everyone in the meeting. If you are part of our in-person group tonight, please raise your hand but stay seated, and we'll call on you to go to the lectern to make your comment. When you make your comment, please state your name and city of residence for the record. Also, be conscientious of others trying to speak and speak slowly and clearly. This meeting will be recorded and posted on the city's website at missionks.org. Please contact the administration offices at 913-676-8350 with any questions or concerns. Ms. Folks, please call the roll.
Vaughn. Here. Ryherd.
Here.
Loudon. Here. Green.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Josie.
Here.
Carpenter-Davis. Online with us.
Our first item of business tonight is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment now on an item not on our agenda tonight? Please note, public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Nobody in person, nobody online. Okie doke. We do not have any public presentations this evening. Therefore, we will move into our action items. Our first action item this evening is the acceptance of the meeting minutes from Robin Folks.
Yes, thank you. Draft minutes of the July 9th Finance and Administration Committee meeting were included for review and acceptance in your packet tonight.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on the minutes? I will take a recommendation.
Consent.
Consent. Our next action item this evening is for consideration of a resolution accepting donated property located at 5600 Johnson Drive from Brian Scott.
They're going to show the title page and some change. I had a picture of cherry tree. I thought it was real pretty and relaxing. Cherry blossom, yes. Okay.
Nature minute.
Excuse me, this is, this item's regarding another plat that was approved by the city probably about 2 years ago now. This plat is regarding the property roughly at 5600 Johnson Drive. That entire parcel of property was owned by Betty Benson forever and a day. She and her husband created a trust back in the early 2000s. They put the property into the trust. And then a couple of years ago, she decided to kind of clean up her estate a little bit. And she decided to sell the property or kind of parcel off the property to the tenants that were in the 2 buildings on the property. So there's kind of that low-lying building with the mansard roof that has sand hills and urban prairie and the game board. And there's a building on the east side of the lot, 2-story building that has a Springboard Creative and I think the bakery in the first floor. So the respective business owners bought kind of their portion of the buildings. She, however, left a portion of the property, track A, which I kind of outlined, my squiggly line there, in her possession in the trust. And that's essentially the sidewalk and the parking on Johnson Drive. So she passed away about a year ago and her trust is now being settled up, and the trust administrator contacted me back in the winter. We don't want this. What do we do with it? Would you all like to have it? So I said, sure, we'll take it as a quick claim deed. So that's essentially what we're doing tonight. We're just gonna take that. She's been paying taxes on it all these years. So once we accept it, I'll contact Kansas Board of Appeals, Board of Tax Appeals, and have that removed from taxes so that it becomes tax exempt. That's about it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the public or committee? Yeah, Wanda.
My question is this unique to this property? Do we own other sidewalks?
We own a few. I should have pulled together a little map this afternoon. I didn't get that far, but yeah, there's a couple other little sidewalks and parking lot areas along Johnson Drive that have been deeded to the city over the years.
So then are we
then-
responsible for snow removal?
We're already removing the snow in the parking area on the street. And then the sidewalk would really just be the responsibility of the property owners that own those 3 lots. So,
And they know that.
yeah, they've been removing the snow already, and it's gonna be in their interest because they want to open up their store and get their customers in there. So, yeah, it's gonna be in their interest to want to remove the snow as quickly as possible. So,
Yeah, so when we actually acquired this area that we're accepting back, we paid for that, similar to what we're doing now on Johnson Drive. So when we redid that section of Johnson Drive, we acquired right-of-way, permanent and temporary construction easements, and all of the sidewalks are in city right-of-way now, as well as the parking areas. And so for the last 10 plus years, all of those businesses have been responsible for clearing. They don't replace or repair sidewalks. We would come in and do that, but they are responsible and are familiar with that in terms of clearing snow. And as Brian mentioned, we do clear the snow in the public parking spaces along Johnson Drive.
you're gonna have portions throughout the city where the sidewalk is actually on somebody's property. But still it's the responsibility of the property owner, the one that's adjacent to that sidewalk, to maintain it, clear the snow and debris and all of that. So,
So how does that work? That some owners own the sidewalk and the city owns some? How does that? Is that the way it is in all cities?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's not gonna always be clear cut because over the years,
It's changed.
things has changed, yeah. And so we have an ordinance on the books we adopted a few years ago that requires all property owners that abut a city sidewalk to clear that of snow. So we always remind people, especially in the commercial areas, you have to clear the snow.
If it does come to replacement, we would replace only the stuff that we own and then the other private people replace what they
Well,
own.
that kind of goes back to what Laura was talking about with the construction easements, and a lot of times you'll have a sidewalk on private property that there's an easement showing that sidewalk, and then the city will come in, as part of that easement, it's the city's responsibility to correct any defects with the sidewalk. If the sidewalk starts to break up and crack, then the city would come in and replace it. But simple snow removal and all of that's on the responsibility of the property that's adjacent to the sidewalk.
Kind of similar to think about street trees, which are in the existing right-of-way. And one of the things that was unique about this section of Johnson Drive is that the property lines actually went in most of the cases between Lamar and Nall to the center line of the street because they had never been platted and recorded. So we, through that process, actually acquired that, similar to the process that we're going through now, all the way up to the building fronts in most cases. So they still own it, which is why in this case, the Benson Trust had owned all of this, and that's why it was being taxed. So the right of way just gives us, it puts certain obligations on us, but the property owners still own it from a taxing standpoint.
But we're not gonna.
No, now that we're taking it over, we'll
Yeah, well,
apply for an
Yeah.
exemption on this. It's a little strange. It's a little strange and it's a little different than,
it's a little bit of a one-off, yeah.
Thank you.
There are no other questions. Can I get a recommendation?
Consent.
Consent? Okay. Our third action item this evening is for consideration of a resolution adding the Johnson County Post to the city's list of official city newspapers from Robin Folks.
Good evening. Thank you. As you may have seen in your packet, earlier this year, the Johnson County Post announced that they were expanding publication services to include legal notices and publications. And we had some good conversations with them about sort of how that process is going to look. And we have moved forward with determining that adding them as one of our official newspapers would be beneficial to both us and to the Post for several reasons. Most of our publications are done through the legal record, which is common for most cities, and they do a fantastic job. Unfortunately, recently they've made some changes to their publication schedule. So we did have a Friday at 11 a.m. deadline, and now we have a Thursday at noon deadline for anything that's going to be published the following Tuesday for them. So for us with Wednesday evening meetings, that puts us on a pretty tight timeline for publication things, especially since things need to be signed before publication. The Post has a much more flexible schedule for publication and gives us some more ability to publish on Monday rather than Tuesday. They also have some features, including in having all of their legal publications on the front page of their website. Those are all accessible for free. There's no paywall. So anybody who wants to read legal notices would be able to access those. They have also began print publication at the Johnson County Post. It's limited. The circulation is small, but those legal notices would go out in that print publication as well. So this resolution would allow us to include the Johnson County Post as one of our official city newspapers for any sort of publication needs that we have going forward. It gives us, again, the flexibility with that tight turnaround time, but it also allows us to support local journalism. The legal record mostly is publications. Anything that's a news story is a wire story, which is valuable as well. But the Post does include employment of our local journalists and support sort of local news and local stories. So at this time, staff recommends a resolution adding the Johnson County Post as one of our official city newspapers. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Robin. Do we have any questions from public or committee?
I do have one question. So
Yeah.
does that mean that you will get, because you're publishing in it, but we get that here, like it'll be delivered here too?
We haven't talked about print publication here. We do get printed copies of the legal record here, but because those legal notices with the Post will be available for free online through their website, I don't know that we would need to take a printed copy as well. We could certainly talk about that and see what the cost associated with being a print subscriber would be, though.
No, but we would have access online.
Yes, anyone would have access to the Johnson County Post legal notices through their website. And again, for free. They're not paywall protected like their stories are.
Okay.
So a much wider reach than the legal records printed paper.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
I just think it's important to support local media these days. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
we
to
do
hear that
too.
we're doing that.
Thank you.
There are no other questions. Can I get a recommendation, please?
Can I ask for non-consent on that? I just feel like we're talking about how we give notice to things. I'd like to give notice to this too.
Regular agenda. Our fourth action item this evening is for consideration of updates to the open records request fee schedule, also from Robin Folks.
Yes, thank you. So beginning July 1st of this year, state statute changes have changed the way that we can charge for fees for open records requests. So we have had the city attorney help us prepare an ordinance and a resolution, two resolutions to address those fee changes. The key changes that the resolution and the ordinances are addressing include that the city can only charge actual costs for furnishing copies of requested records. Actual costs can include a 25-cent per page printing fee, which we rarely have to utilize because most of our documentation is provided electronically, computer searching fees or other outside fees necessary to complete the search, along with staff costs. Staff costs, the city has to determine an hourly rate now based on either the lowest of the staff member who will be doing the work's salary or $40. So we would, anytime a records request is made that we will be charging for, we would need to look at who will be doing the work to pull the records and determine if their hourly salary rate is more or less than $40. We have to charge the lesser of that. Before that, we were just charging $40 per hour. So these new changes dictate how we and what we can charge. We can also, the requesters can now request an itemized statement of costs incurred by the city when fulfilling their request. So typically, if we have a large open records request come in that will require us to charge, it's not just a perfunctory, quickly accessible records. We would usually provide just a breakdown of how many hours we thought it would be and the total amount charged. The new requirements would ask for an itemized statement of what work is being done by whom and how much it would be for each of those pieces. The third key change is that if the staff time is expected to be more than 5 hours or the costs will be more than $200, we have to notify the requester and talk about cost mitigation conversations to see if they wanted to limit the scope of their request, if they wanted to change maybe how many pieces of information they were asking for before we move forward with the request. If we don't have a response after we share that information within 3 business days, then the request can be canceled or nullified until we would hear back from the requester and start a new request process. So passing the ordinance will codify the changes into the municipal code and make sure that we are compliant with the new state statutes. The resolution establishing the open records procedures will outline the specific policies that govern implementation for the new ordinance. And the last component is a second resolution that names the city clerk as the Freedom of Information Officer for the city of Mission. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the committee? Yeah.
So one quick comment. I think there's a missing word in 105.100A4
Yes.
ordinance.
For public works.
Yeah, where
Yes.
it's listing the different officers for the different departments in Public Works. It just says Public Works. I'm guessing that's Public Works Director. should be
Yes,
the-
we've made a
okay.
note of that to check with Dave and Jacob
Okay.
and make sure we can add in either director or
Superintendent.
superintendent
Yeah.
or admin, however we choose to address
Okay.
it. But yes, we will make sure that's a person and not a thing.
So I do have a question. So this is really for transparency, right?
Um,
That's why they're doing this.
Open records requests are already fairly transparent just in their nature. These were state changes made by the state during the legislative session that just ended. Probably looking at maybe lowering costs or making large records requests more accessible to folks. We are fortunate that at this time, we don't get a ton of really cumbersome records requests. So it's unusual for us to have to put together a large package of payment needs for a records request, but it could happen. But records requests are fairly transparent already just in their nature.
And we get a lot of those or no?
We get several, most of the
Oh,
ones
we
we
do?
receive are through the police department, people needing either court records or their police report or something like that. We tend to get them quite a bit for zoning information or for companies that are doing work at a commercial site. We get them occasionally for people that are curious about things, but they're usually pretty quick and easy to move through.
So this is actually going to be a decrease in payments? Is that what I'm understanding?
It could be, again, depending on the staff member that has to do the work to fulfill the request. So, and then again, it would just depend on what salary grade they're at. And then if it's more or less than the $40 maximum.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
There are no other questions. Can I have a recommendation, please?
Recommend consent.
I say non-consent.
Okay.
Communication effort.
Very good.
Regular agenda. Our final action item this evening is for consideration of approval of the amended memorandum of understanding for the co-responder program from Dan Madden.
Good evening. Every year, primarily for grant purposes, our contract that the cities involved sign with Johnson County Mental Health is reviewed. The main changes that have come through this process this year are all related to the financial aspect of it, how we pay, when we pay, and and primarily stemmed from the cities receiving kind of mid-budget year notices of increases that were really impacting some, us and the other cities as well. So we wanted to clean that up to allow us to have a little bit more notice when we were going to receive increases so that we could plan for the next budget year. And that's the primary goal of this amendment. I really don't have any other information than that. Everything else in the contract would remain the same, or the MOU would remain the same, except for those sections mentioned in the amendment.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from the public or the committee? Not seeing any. Can I get a recommendation, please?
I recommend we take this to council, non-consent.
Regular agenda. That concludes our action items for the evening. We do not have any discussion items before we adjourn. Ms. Smith, are there any department updates for the Finance and Administration Committee?
Yes, the chief, Mr. Scott and Mr. Almaniel have some quick updates.
I just wanted to let y'all know, I know some of you were able to attend last night's event, another successful evening with great weather, thankfully. Added the dunk tank to the mix this year. And I was quickly added to the water. So it was a good time. That was my stipulation on doing that, was that we needed to, that needed to be something that would raise money for something near and dear to our hearts. So I'm happy to report we were able to raise $423 for Sunflower House in that short time. So we'll be
Nice.
working with them, and they sent a representative out, and we're thrilled that we were able to do that for them. So it was a good time.
I got a shortcut. So next Friday, August 15th from 8 to roughly 11 p.m., we're going to host a movie called Night of the Zoopocalypse, and that'll be at Waterworks Park. And we're interested to hear if Chief will be bringing the dunk tank over. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
What was the name of that again, please?
Night at the Zoopocalypse.
Oh, at the zoo.
Zoopocalypse. It's kind of like a children's zombie cartoon. It's a cartoon, yeah.
Okay.
Rated PG.
Okay, the Community Development Department is going to be manning the city tent tomorrow night at the farmer's market. So myself and Taylor Cunningham, our new senior planner, and Neil Fanska, our community development coordinator, will be at the tent. We'll be just handing out some material about various programs that we offer to our residents, the business improvement grant and the community rebate program and Mission Possible and some of those things. And we'll also be kind of pumping one last time our survey for the zoning code updates. We have a little landing spot on our webpage where we have some information about the zoning code update. We have a community survey out there. So we've just been out there for about a month now. We've been pushing it a little bit through social media, but we'll do that tomorrow night at the farmer's market. Just to kind of give you an update on that. We did an internal and external stakeholder survey back in May or so. Some of you probably got that survey and completed it, sent it back. And then we kind of followed up on the external side, and we did stakeholder one-on-one interviews with developers, external stakeholders. And I'm happy to say we were able to get to kind of the big three, which is the ones I really wanted to get. And that was Block, Sunflower, and Millhouse. Because all three of those have had pretty significant projects in our community in the last couple of years, or we'll be embarking on projects soon, we hope. So we wanted to kind of get their feedback on what they thought of the zoning code and the development review process, and kind of their interactions with the city so far. And then we're reaching out to some of the smaller developers we've worked with, like John Moffett and Scott Kingsdorf. And so I'll try to get those folks one-on-one interviews as well. The consultants are starting to draft that audit report. And so they're hoping to have a draft document to staff by the end of August. We'll review that. And then from there, we'll have kind of a presentation to the planning commission and city council. We'll kind of make that a public document so we can get some feedback again from the public on that. I'm hoping to have that whole phase kind of wrapped up by the end of the year. So, other than that, we're just doing building permits. So we've been busy inspecting Mission 77. They're hoping to open by the end of the year. That's kind of optimistic, but we'll try to work with them to achieve that. But we've been going almost daily and doing inspections over there. We've been doing a lot of inspections at the Nelson treatment plant, so they're working on their administrative building. We're doing everything that's going to be essentially a habitable space, so the administrative building and the facilities building. The rest of it, frankly, is above our pay grade, and they have on-site inspectors that are really kind of going over all that with a fine-tooth comb and know those systems and processes and how they work. And then, so we've been busy with that, and then just kind of routine inspections. And then we've been getting a lot of requests for information, zoning inquiries and so forth. So we complete those and send those back. And then, yeah, just some other kind of zoning issues we've been working on, but that's been pretty much the summer for us. So that's it. Any questions?
How long have you guys been on the electronic permitting now?
Since May.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how's that going now that you've had a few months with it?
For us, the community development's gone well.
Okay.
So I was telling Taylor the other day, it used to take a couple days to do a sign permit. Now it takes a few minutes.
Very good.
It's slick, yeah. Just
Awesome. Yeah.
get the application. I think it took a little bit of adjustment for our applicants to kind of get used to that, but they picked up quickly. And I was talking to the woman earlier this week and she said, yeah, I love it. It's great. Just
Good.
be able to get in there anytime during the day, submit an application, you guys get it, you review it, make comments, we respond, we pay, we get a permit, and we're off. So sure he likes it. So
Excellent.
we've had some issues with the building or the business license side. So we've been working with the vendor to try to get those corrected. I think we've gotten most of them resolved. So, but
Okay.
that's been a little bit of a hiccup for us. But
Okay.
the vendor's been real good about working with us to get resolved.
Hiccups, honestly, on
Oh, okay.
side.
Well,
Yeah.
here's hoping for smoother sailing there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, all. It is now 7:03 PM, and with no further discussion, that concludes the meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee.